Hello. In this podcast, the failures of the League of Nations between 1920 to 1939 will be discussed, which ultimately culminated in the greatest collective failure of the League, a Second World War. One of the major problems the League faced was that there had to be unanimity when any decisions were made. This often led to disagreements and the League not being able to step in major crises. It required the unanimous decision of 9, later 15 council members, so decisive action was nearly impossible. All 4 permanent and 4 temporary council members had veto, and this often led to disagreements with smaller nations as to why a foreign power was governing their affairs. Its policies also were unsuccessful most of the time. Examples like the Geneva Protocol of 1924 and the World Disarmament Conference of 1932 are very prevalent. The Geneva Protocol was a treaty drafted in 1923 that made aggressive war illegal for member states. They could only fight back against aggression. This was not supported by Council member states like Britain, who felt as if this was a problem for their imperial expansionist views. An alternative was suggested by British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald and French Prime Minister Edward Harriet, called the Geneva Protocol for Pacific Settlement of International Disputes. It came with a method to resolve conflict by creating a world court that would decide who the aggressor was. Any government who failed to comply would be deemed the aggressor and the League would attack it. This was resisted by both the United States and the British opposition, who feared that this would mean war for Britain and the US. They came to power in 1925 and shelved the proposal. The World Disarmament Conference was also a failure. The members were not assured of safety in the face of dictatorships rising and could not accept disarmament. The League was unable to stop Germany, Japan, Spain, and Italy from militarizing. One other problem was the lack of international representation. Germany was not allowed to join in 1920 as it was seen an aggressor in World War I. It left in 1934 after the right-wing National Socialists or Nazis took power. Japan was also one of the founding members but left in 1933. Italy also left the League. Major world powers were not included, like the Soviet Union, not inducted until 1933 as communism was frowned upon, and the USA, which never joined as the Senate voted against it. The League also did not have armed forces and so relied on the major victorious powers who were often inclined towards situations that benefited them. Another problem the League faced was the Great Depression. This state of economic ruin caused many democratic states to change government as food and wealth was promised. For example, the Weimar Republic of Germany lost favor after hyperinflation caused most of the German populace to go bankrupt. A huge failure of the League was the rise of nationalism and dictatorships. As mentioned above, the Nazis rose to power in Germany after Adolf Hitler became Chancellor and Führer in 1934. The Nazis left the League and started remilitarizing, taking over Austria and Czechoslovakia through appeasement. Eventually, they took over Poland and started the Second World War. Japan also had expansionist ideas due to the lack of resources caused by the Great Depression. They too took over Manchuria and then the rest of China by 1937, and the military gained immense power in the government. Italy was another country under a fascist leader. Benito Mussolini took power in 1925 and started remilitarizing. He wanted to expand the Italian Empire and did so by annexing many other countries. Ethiopia was one of them, and this heightened tensions between the League and Italy, eventually culminating in it leaving the League in 1937. These were some of the ways in which the League was unsuccessful in its quest for demilitarization and world peace, and how these failures led to the most bloody war in human history. Thank you.